Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Here to talk all things hockey are your hosts, Brad Crisco, Ryan Hanna, and Evan Lobsinger.
So this isn't sustainable, right? I don't even mean like the winning, the Red Wings winning. That's fun, and I'm not going to be a buzzkill there, but I mean like the 60 minutes of pure adrenaline injected directly into our eyeballs in every single facet of the game. It's been 3 games this season, not 25, in case you guys were wondering.
Yeah, there has been a lot of things that have happened. Last episode, we talked about our favorite moments from the first 2 games, and neither of them included Bertuzzi's goal of the year or his 4-goal performance. And then in the last game, we had the Red Wings' most dominant win since 2008, according to the analytics, literally. And Lucas Raymond did Lucas Raymond things. Mo Seider's unreal. And yeah, we're 3 games in.
We're at the point now where we're talking about the Wings, what's happening with the Young Guns, what's happening with the first 180 minutes plus whatever for overtime of the season. And apparently last episode we were talking about, players doing well overseas, and none of us said the words Simon Edvinsson out loud. And I believe it. I didn't even go back to check. I saw some people commented and they're like, why didn't you say Simon Edvinsson? And they put the justification. I'm like, oh, hey, you don't have to justify it to me. We know Simon Edvinsson's killing it over in Sweden. It's just like we have to scale up on.
It's a blur.
Yeah. We've been covering this team since 2015. And if you haven't been a Red Wings fan since 2015 was the very tail end of when the Red Wings were making the playoffs. They were essentially running on engine fumes, and at that point, it was an uncomfortable conversation with Red Wings fans, but we were already saying, hey, we're about to enter a pretty shitty period of rebuilding because things aren't looking so hot. And so we haven't had as much excitement literally since we started the show.
Oh, that's depressing. But exciting.
Again, I don't like giving airtime to the people who are just going to hate for the sake of hating. But for those who think that we loved when things were bad because we got to complain, just such a stupid thing to think. Because when have we had more fun than this? Evan.
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
You, at the start of last episode, saying you love violence was the most emphatic I've seen you since we started this show. Oh,
and we keep getting more of it, so keep injecting it directly into my veins.
Anyhow, the Detroit Red Wings, befuddling us all, are exciting as hell. It's a lot of fun, and we're here to talk to you about it. Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Hanna.
I'm Brad Crisco.
And I'm Evan.
On this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast, we are going to be talking about Detroit's single game that's happened its last episode.
A lot of talking points, so.
Against the Columbus Blue Jackets. As Brad said, the most dominant game the Red Wings have had in some time. That's going to be a lot of points. We're going to cover some news around the NHL and really just wherever else the conversation takes us. All of that before overtime. Of course, first, I want to talk to you about an organization we are proud to partner with and support, the Jamie Daniels Foundation. The more we talk about substance use disorder, the faster we can end the stigma and get support to those who need it. The Jamie Daniels Foundation is a children's foundation initiative, and it was established in memory of Jamie Daniels by Jamie's father, and Red Wings lead announcer Ken Daniels and Jamie's mother, Lisa Daniels Goldman. They strive to end the stigma of substance use disorder and provide support to those struggling with the disease or who are in recovery. To learn more and offer your support, visit jamiedanielsfoundation.org. If you don't follow them on Twitter and Instagram especially, there's a lot coming up with the celebrity roast of Brett Hull, the live auction coming up there, a lot of really great stuff. Ken has talked about some of the things that are going to be on there on the show, and he's told us as well. So some really cool items up for bid. All right. The Red Wings reigned over the Columbus Blue Jackets. The final score was 4-1, was it, in the end?
Yes.
Let's talk about the most important goal here first. Lucas Raymond. Yeah. That Bertuzzi, Larkin, Raymond line is something different all three of those players, I mean, obviously this is the first time we've seen Lucas Raymond in a Red Wings jersey, but all three of those players look like, I'm going to be dramatic here, they look like trophy winners. Like they look like they're unstoppable out there. Every time they touch the puck, it's dangerous. It doesn't matter who they're matched up against. And that goal, that pass and that goal to Raymond. The play started with Seider in his own zone, pass to Nick Leddy, who made the great pass up to the middle of the ice to Dylan Larkin, who carried it up, smartly tossed it over to Lucas Raymond, who fired it in so fast, I don't think there was a camera who caught it.
Yeah, people don't appreciate how hard that catching a strong side pass and then immediately opening up to take the shot, let alone with that accuracy and that velocity, how difficult that play is. Because like NHL players make it look routine, but even most NHL players are not pinpointing it like that, because Raymond didn't have a big window to hit to put that in. It's an unreal shot. And we've talked at length about the improvements in his shot over the last couple of years since he was drafted. But as you were describing that goal, I think you accidentally hit the biggest fundamental difference between this year and previous seasons with the Red Wings. Seider to Leddy to Larkin to Raymond. Who's the weak link there?
There is none.
There isn't. That is 4 top-end caliber NHL players. And who was the guy on the ice that didn't touch the puck? Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yeah. Who would have been there to pick up the rebound or whatever?
On the second line, you still have that same luxury. Are Fabry, Suter, and Zadina as good as the top line? No, obviously not. But you don't lose much there. Really, right now on the Red Wings, you're only losing. There's a steep drop off with one defensive pairing, and that's about it. Offensively, obviously, the bottom 6 not as gifted, but they're, again, all capable NHLers. But yeah, we should be surprised and we shouldn't be surprised at the same time with the success of that line, circling back. Because when Bertuzzi, Larkin, and Mantha were clicking, like the eye test, the analytics, everything said that was a top 10 line in the league. Mm-hmm. That was like a legit top end first line that could run with almost any first line in the NHL with the exception of a handful. Lucas Raymond should be better than Anthony Mantha. He's not yet, but the one thing he is he plays with more pace and he's quicker, which in theory should play better off Dylan Larkin. And so far we've seen that. He's 3 points, 3 games as a brand new NHLer. So it's not inconceivable, and it's not totally out of left field that they're doing what they're doing. It was just a matter of, hey, can Raymond get up to speed quickly, NHL speed quickly? And the answer is yes. Yes, he can.
There's a point in there about deployment, and I want to get to it kind of after we cover the game. So, yeah, Raymond ripped home that goal. And again, whatever he did in his last season or so to improve his shot, I want everyone to go through that training regimen who needs to improve their shot, because he scored that goal not like a playmaker shoots the puck. He scored that goal like a goal scorer scores that goal. Like, that thing was ripped home. There's not a goalie in the league who would have stopped that. Tyler Bertuzzi's goal thereafter, which this is going to sound like just fawning over Lucas Raymond when, you know, he was a secondary assist and not even the one who scored the goal. But his saucer pass, like that touch on that saucer pass, that's not an easy pass to make. That was a high sauce to get it over the stick over short distance. And that's incredibly difficult to do. As he made it look like any old schlup could walk on the ice and do it.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because the thing that separates the elite players from the good players are plays like that, because anybody can, like that saucer pass he threw. If I'm standing still in that same spot and I can throw that pass. The thing that makes Raymond special, he did not handle that puck. There was no time to like settle it down, make sure it's on his blade properly, open up his hips properly and make it. It was just, oh, here's the puck. There goes the sauce. Bang, bang. Does not give the defense time to react, does not give the back checkers time to catch up, which I think if I remember the play, there was a guy right there. So Raymond didn't even have time if he wanted to corral it to assure himself of making a better pass. We've seen him make those quick touch passes in the offensive zone as well. It's just, it's something you can't teach. Just the elite players have that processing power and the skill to be able to execute it. Because, again, a saucer pass, a basic saucer pass is not hard.
Yeah.
With touch, under pressure, from whatever angle you're standing at, that is incredibly difficult.
And then, of course, Larkin walks it up the middle of the ice. Pass to the right when he went to Raymond. Pass to the left when he went to Bertuzzi. A little bit of a knuckle puck, but buried it. I don't know if it went bar down, but, top roof of the net down. There is not a player in the NHL who has more pumped up, like, I'm willing to run through a wall after watching it celebrations right now than Tyler Bertuzzi. Like, there's the one in the spectrum, which is Jack Hughes, which is like, you celebrate, you toss your stick into the stands. I thought that was cool as hell. I loved that from Jack Hughes. And then there's just like the sheer like Hulk power, like I will punch through this glass and grab your beer and chug it energy of Tyler Bertuzzi right now. 5 goals through 3 games leads the Red Wings. So we can only imagine that's sustainable.
Does he lead the league? If not, who the hell?
He very well may lead the league.
I'll be deeply impressed if someone has more goals than him.
It is points, goals. Andrei Kopitar is tied with him for 5.
Okay, tied.
So Kopitar, Bertuzzi, McDavid, Ovechkin, Stamkos. That's usually like it's the same old.
Something
right?
here is not like the others.
Well, Stammer's moving down the lineup in Tampa Bay. That's what's different.
Yeah,
but
we saw his one-timer against Detroit in the opening game. He's fine.
And then you have like the side characters going on of Nemesnikov and Ernie. Ernie to Nemesnikov for the first empty net goal. Nemesnikov to Ernie for the second empty net goal.
Vlad Nemesnikov is going to set NHL records for percentage of career points accumulated on an empty net.
He didn't want the second empty net goal for that reason. He was like, my stats are going to look terrible for my next contract negotiation. I'd rather just take the primary assist.
Yeah, didn't he have like something like 10 goals last year, but 2 of them were on a goalie or something absurd like that?
Ken was talking about it. He was like, this is getting ridiculous. And a lot of them
were a very niche skill set.
Philip Peronik's like, hey, that's my job, man. You're taking my market here. Red Wings 4-1. The dominance, and let's be clear. We're not saying the Red Wings are a playoff team and all of a sudden they're going to dominate like this. The Columbus Blue Jackets are very nearly Arizona Coyotes bad.
The Columbus Blue Jackets, though, who also got off to a very strong start to the season before that game.
Right. Yes. Like, I don't want to discredit the win. I just want to say don't make too many conclusions. The Red Wings played a fantastic game. You're
telling me the Buffalo Sabres and Detroit Red Wings are not going to finish 1 point apart at the top of this division?
They might finish a point apart. No, I think Buffalo's going to finish well. Well, I don't know.
Hey, they are number 1 in the NHL in expected goals against in the good way. Like, they are not allowing chances.
Who knows anything?
I've given up a long time ago.
Nobody can ever say they know anything. It's all bullshit.
My favorite argument going on Twitter right now is the boomer window going, see, Eichel was the problem. And then the analytics community going in, wrist align and lift too.
Yeah. Let's talk about the hit now. So
no, we gotta talk about the game before we talk about the hit, because the 4-1 score does not do that performance enough. Does not give that performance enough credit. Columbus at no point was in that game. The shots were 44-22 for Detroit. What was the expected goal differential that Prashant was texting us about today? Like 6.84 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was the overall expected goals for Detroit.
Yeah, like Columbus was not in that game. They looked like they did not belong on the same ice as the Red Wings. And again, I understand you're right. Despite Columbus's good start, they are a basement feeder. Everybody had them circled in pen for the bottom of the Metro Division. But Detroit has also been a team that has been a bottom feeder who would have very close, exciting games against other bottom feeders. Mm-hmm. So to see Detroit being the bully for once after beating a team that many think is going to make the playoffs and going to overtime with the defending back-to-back Cup champions, this is as promising of a start as we could have expected.
Yeah, it's exactly what we've hoped for coming out of the rebuild, quote unquote, for a long time. People keep asking, well, what do you want? What's success for you? Do you want the playoffs? And it's like, I mean, of course, we're dying for the day that we can go to the LCA and see a playoff game. But being realistic, what can you actually hope for? Your star players staying healthy, playing well, The kids not only getting the opportunity, but converting on it. And the Red Wings winning games that they should win. And we're 3 games in. In 10 games, we could be, people are going to be clowning
3
us.
and 10. Or 3 and 7.
It's like the Jags when they won their first game, however long ago. They're like, we're not satisfied with just one. And they've lost like 22 games since then.
Yeah. Sorry, Miami.
Yeah.
It's weird that the Deshaun Watson trade talks have heated up this week.
Crazy.
Weird. But branching off your point too, and this is the most important thing that we can see this season. And obviously I'm aware we are massively overreacting to 3 games. We're a podcast. This is what we do. Bear with me. When you look at the raw stats, so goals, assists, plus minus, whatever you want to look at, 3 of the best players in the Red Wings this year so far have been Lucas Raymond, Mo Seider, Filip Zadina.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, secondary assist, Bankins, Flukes, anybody can get points. I mean, Vladimir Mesnikov's got like 5 points and they're all on an empty net. Then when you dive into the underlying numbers, the analytics of it, 3 of the strongest players in the Red Wings in the first 3 games, Lucas Raymond, Mo Seider, Filip Zadina. That is the most important thing for this season.
In terms of how those guys grade out, like, first of all, I'm going to spoiler here. Guess who the Red Wings 3 best players are by game score right now per Hockey Stack?
Like by Dom's model or something similar?
Yeah, pulls from Dom's model.
I would go Larkin, Bertuzzi, Raymond.
Yeah, in that exact order. That line is absolutely dominating. It's early. Gustav Lindstrom grades out extremely well. And it matches what we see. He's quiet. It's what we've been talking about with Gustav Lindstrom, to say he's not going to come in. This isn't Cale Makar, quite obviously, but if he finds a spot on this team and holds it, it's because he's quietly effective. And Gustav Lindstrom, through 3 games, it's very early, has been quietly effective.
He gives me, my only concern about Lindstrom so far this season is he gives me mild Brendan Smith vibes, where every game he makes one incredible pass and I'm like, wow, where did that come from? And he does one thing that's incredibly stupid and I'm like, why would you even attempt that? Every game.
I am perfectly fine with a very young 6th defenseman doing it.
That's fine.
You want to live in that 5-6 role and all of a sudden we have someone in the 5-6 role who's doing one incredible thing a game. All for it.
That is a big win.
Moritz Seider. We didn't even talk about it. Moritz Seider, who got absolutely walked by Patrick Laine in the preseason, had Laine bearing down on him again, poised to do the same move. What did he do? Very smart gap control, perfect poke check, play got shut down. You would have missed it. That's how good it was, and that's what you want from a defenseman, and especially from Mo Seider. Everyone loves the big hits. Everyone loves when a defenseman comes up into a rush or has a huge clapper from the point or does whatever. But Mo Seider shut down the play with a simple poke check. Patrick Laine, one of the most dangerous scorers that Columbus had, no longer a factor on that play. Mo Seider it was a Sean Corrali bearing down, gave him his back, thought he might cut in or do whatever it was to get around Mo Seider. What did he do? Didn't reach around for the puck, wasn't juked by the move, shut the dude down, hit him. He let him back into him and absolutely dominated him physically with a massive. It didn't look like a massive hit, but that was a back adjustment. Like that force traveled through his spine. Mo Seider, more and more every game, has been looking very comfortable, especially in the defensive part of the game. The kids are all right. The stars are all right. Robbie Fabry is doing well. Adam Ernie, I feel like, is doing very well in his third line role. There are few players in this team who I'm actually concerned about right now.
I have a few, not many. And I think by a few, I probably mean literally 3.
I want a better partner for Hronek. If Danny DeKeyser is all we have to speak for in this realm that we've, in the past, it's been Nielsen, it's been Abdelkader, it's been whatever. Like, everyone knew what Danny DeKeyser would be coming into the season. That is what it is. And then, whoever the Rowney is for that game. Giovanni Smith can play like twice as poorly or like have a very poor game, but if he comes in and just backs someone up physically, I actually don't care. But that's a very small list compared to what we've had in the past. Like, yes, 3 games, but everyone's clicking right now. Staying healthy, understand and not getting too down when the losses come, because they will come, of course. The Red Wings are going to play some pretty good teams and they're going to lose games that, where they play well and still get shut down, but it's looking good. Also, we haven't even said anything about Nick Leddy. We haven't said anything about
Grice.
Yeah. Oh my God. Grice has been fantastic through and through. Nemesnikov's looked good. Like there've been no glaring red flags. Very few.
Very few. Not none.
Not none.
There have been. That DeKaiser Hronik pairing is giving me very big concerns. But it's canceled out by the fact that Seider Leddy is an upper level defensive pairing, and Stahl and Lindstrom have looked more than capable. It's that one pairing.
Man, cheering for Mark Stahl every time he's in the zone, like, it's funny, but at the same time, I'm like, dude tries stuff, and it sometimes comes through. I have the most fun every game cheering for, of course, like Raymond and Seider, but like the Mark Stahl irony hype train has slowly lost its irony, and now it's just a hype train. I'm like, I don't mind it. I think the Red Wings need a left side defenseman. They need another Leddy, I think, for next season. The Red Wings need more good players. Hot takes on the Winged Wheel podcast. Yeah. But no, I've had fun with it.
Oh, yeah. Mark, literally Bobby Orr Stahl.
It's like the art of war. If he doesn't know what he's doing, neither can his opponent.
That's absolutely right. It's like playing chess against a child.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw some crazy stat where it was like Detroit was the betting favorite for the first time in 107 games or something. That almost doesn't make sense, but after the pain of last year, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I saw that on the screen. I was like, I wouldn't even bet. Like, I would feel insulted as a Red Wings fan having to live through that rebuild, and all of a sudden you're getting lesser odds on the Red Wings like that. You almost feel like you're getting ripped off. So Raymond, or Larkin was hot in his return. Bertuzzi stays hot. Raymond took a hit from behind from Jack Roslovic. It was a play where Raymond was positioned alongside the boards. His back turned to Roslovic the whole time. There was no last minute switch. He was looking to receive a pass. Usually in that situation, the player looking to, make a move on Raymond there would either pin him or, go for the puck and start a puck battle or hit him from the shoulder. Saw his numbers all the way through, ran him into the boards. Raymond's face hit the boards. He had to go in to get checked for concussion. Thankfully, after the game, it looked like he was okay. He said he was okay. Missed the rest of the game, though, which sucked.
Yeah, there's less than 10 minutes left, so that was likely precautionary more than anything.
And the good news is, of course, Roslovic did receive the penalty. Oh, actually, no. Not at all. No penalties on the play.
There was a penalty.
You're right. Yeah. There was a penalty. He went down the ice, Larkin and Bertuzzi, because every night is fight night at the Joe now. Larkin and Bertuzzi went after Roslovic. He didn't engage at all because, of course, he's not going to, answer the bell. I can't believe I'm talking like this.
You sound like me.
I do sound like you.
We have re-entered the boomer window. Is that what, Evan? That's what you call it, right?
It's the boomer window.
Yeah. And Bertuzzi ends up with the extra minor. Columbus scored on the power play soon thereafter, making it a 2-1 game.
This was the Tampa Bay game, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, same one.
You wouldn't know any better. Tampa Bay scored 2 power play goals and the resulting man advantage from the Larkin 5-minute major, which we're not saying he didn't deserve, but still. No call on Roslovic. Did Roslovic deserve 5? No. Does Roslovic deserve a suspension? No. Was that the easiest 2-minute boarding call in human history? I just don't. What's the threshold here? Are we taking crazy pills?
There is no threshold. It's not a penalty.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
We're cutting down on cross-checking. Okay, great. So like boarding too? Hey, whoa, geez, don't get crazy now.
No, we're cutting down on cross-checking unless you cross-check someone into the boards from behind.
The board cancels it out.
Just kidding. They haven't actually cracked down on cross-checking. That was a big old talking point of nothing. I've ranted enough about this in the first couple episodes of the season. Everybody knows where I stand. It's just mystifying that I wish I could be as bad at my job as these refs just to have that kind of job security.
Referees, weathermen, who else?
Like I got to show up to work every day and try real hard and put a lot of thought and effort into my work, and some days a lot of sweat and blood and tears, and tomorrow the company could fold and I could be gone. But if I'm an NHL referee, I can show up, pretend I don't see anything, and collect a nice paycheck at the end of the day. Life's not fair, kids. Always remember that.
I don't think Short Kings Limited is going to fold anytime soon, Brad. You should be okay.
Hey, it's because of my hard work.
It's funny that you say that about weathermen, Evan. Like, I have a science degree. I know everything that goes, like, not everything, but I know how hard that job is. Like meteorologists have it really
Oh yeah, you
tough.
can't just show up off the street.
Yeah, it's incredibly tough. I know how unpredictable it is. The locusts last year made it hard to predict the weather. Like, I know all this, and I still get irrationally pissed off when the weather is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing out there? Get off the screen. Is there an analog here to our conversation about reffing? I don't think so.
No, probably not.
Probably not. No, but seriously, like, I'm not even going to say anymore we don't like to complain about the reffing, because this has been too many times, and we have to take the hits where we get them, or where we deserve them. But in all honesty, 2 minutes between the hit to Larkin, the hit to Rasmussen, let's not forget OEL on Letty, and now the hit to Lucas Raymond, 2 minutes issued for all 4 hits combined.
So will Ryan Reeves play on the third or fourth line?
He can slot up on the second line, actually,
Okay.
if that's part of his deal. If he'll take a lower AAV, we'll give him second unit power play time.
The other frustrating part about this is how many times, because everybody's on Twitter about like, oh, we need to go get an enforcer. No, we don't. 1, we have Witkowski if you really want to go that route. And 2, how many times has Giovanni Smith tried and they won't let him?
I've actually turned into who Evan memes about, but like, okay, you don't get a penalty and you're not even going to answer the bell. I will never, I don't care how.
That is definitely one of the softest things of all time.
Oh God, it is the pinnacle of soft. Like, you talk about the code in hockey. The code in hockey doesn't exist the way people talk about it. The code in hockey, though, is if you make a play and it's borderline gray area, whether or not incidental, and it wasn't like a clean hit, you answer the bell.
Well, the refs just call it. There's none of this has to happen. Like,
That's
this
true.
whole conversation is a waste of time.
The unwritten-
But instead, we see Bertuzzi skating 45 feet across the ice, about to blindside Jack Roslovic. Like it's I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love that. I love everything about that. I'm not complaining about that because I love it all.
I'm not gonna look at
There's that Bertuzzi skating across the ice, chasing someone down.
Yeah.
Things are about to get dicey.
Like, it's just like, if they just call the initial penalty, even if they're not sure, like, it just stops all the BS after. And like, I just don't get it.
Well,
I just don't get it.
A couple things. One, now that you've got that visual in my head, I hope there's a back camera angle of Bertuzzi skating 200 feet down the ice at Roslovic and pointing at a ref, just going, "You did this. You did what's about to happen."
Bertuzzi and Larkin have very specific stances. Like, Larkin's a little bit more traditional hockey player, like gloves off and like just looking for who to grab. Bertuzzi is like wide stance, gloves off, hands like claws, looking for someone to kill. I'm like,
Larkin didn't hesitate though.
No.
When Bertuzzi jumped Roslovic, like, Larkin was basically man 2.5 in. Like, he was looking for a partner right away too. It's all just such garbage. Like,
It is. If number one, like you said, this shouldn't happen if the refs did their damn job. But then we have to get into this whole stupid conversation about the code, and the refs are even preventing that, because the way a hockey code goes, you do something stupid, you have to answer for it, whether or not you think it's stupid. I mean, we dump on the guy all the time, but Corey Perry answered the bell for a very obvious accidental knee to John Tavares' head in the playoffs.
and I don't even think he should have had to.
He shouldn't have had to, but he did, because he knows. Because he's like, yeah, they're emotional, they're rattled, their captain just got stretchered off the ice and it was my fault. Fine. Just get it over with. So if Roslovic is going to take the coward's way out, just to kind of go on the extreme end of it, the code in hockey is, okay, well, our enforcer's coming out the next shift and grabbing one of your guys, which Giovanni Smith has attempted to do multiple times, and the refs don't let him. So then the problem isn't solved, it simmers, and it gets worse, and players get pissed off and pissed off. The one saving grace of, from an entertainment value, it sucks, but the one saving grace from turning this game into a gong show was that hit happened with less than 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
The Red Wings
or they're not playing like a home and home, or they're playing the same team back to back.
Yeah.
Or it's a playoff game, for example. Like, that's when it, like, then it starts percolating in the media and sound bits, and then it's nuclear at that point.
Meatheads on a podcast.
Yeah, because if Roslovic throws that hit in the first period, or when the score's 5-1, and the refs play it out exactly like they did, Oh, it's going to be the Tampa game all over again. Yeah. It's going to be an absolute gong show. And again, entertainment value, great. Player safety, not so much. The more guys get punched in the face, eventually something bad's going to happen. And it's stupid and it's ridiculous. But this is the way hockey works. And everybody knows that. I don't care if you agree with the code or disagree with the code. It doesn't matter. This is how NHL players think. So if the refs don't do their job, this is the result.
Well, the one thing that's going to happen is if they can't, answer the bell or they settle it some other way, like it's going to end up like someone's going to take a run at somebody and it's going to be really ugly and really bad. And it's like, it all comes back to just making that initial call. Like if they're not going to let Giovanni Smith fight, well, he's like, well, I'm just going to run over Korpisalo. Yeah. Like it's going to turn into like eventually the wires will cross with somebody and something very bad will happen that nobody wanted at the start, and they could have just extinguished it right at the beginning.
Remember when John Scott tried to throw down with Phil Kessel?
Yeah. Phil was the kid playing ping pong. Have you guys seen the video of the kid who throws a ping pong paddle at his brother?
Yeah.
His little brother screaming. But in all seriousness, think back to the Tom Wilson Panarin incident. What were Rangers fans, in my opinion, very rightly mad about? But I get that that's divided. But still, they were mad that Tom Wilson was able to come back and play in that game. Red Wings fans are mad that Roslovic was able to play on the power play. Nothing happened. Evan is exactly right. The Red Wings are looking for the bare minimum here, and Brad's exactly right. As much as we laugh and joke and, in a very primal way, enjoy watching Larkin and Bertuzzi stand up for their young 19-year-old star winger, this can't happen all the time. People are going to get hurt. Someone's going to do something stupid. We're going to end up missing out on more time of Larkin, more time of Bertuzzi, more time of Raymond or Seider or something. It's dumb as hell. This can't be the way hockey exists all the time. Things are going to boil over, and that's great. And then you get Evan perked up, and he's pumped up about it. But it's not sustainable over 82 games for player safety. It's not sustainable for 82 games and for fairness of the game. Holy shit, can we get a penalty here?
Because that's relevant, too, because we haven't even talked about that. Andre Palat boarded Michael Rasmussen, should have been a major. It wasn't. Tampa comes back right after Palat scores the OT winner. Roslovic throws a hit in a 2-0 game. Red Wings retaliate, get a penalty. Columbus makes it a 1-goal game.
Hey guys,
power play.
Guess how many power plays each team had last night? 2. It was 4-4.
Oh, the game management.
Is that a shocker to anyone? Because
fantastic game management.
How would that have happened? Like the Red Wings would have had maybe 5 power plays and Columbus would have had 3, or it would have just stayed 4-3. Well, we can't have that, right?
No. What a coincidence. That's crazy. That's crazy that
it's weird how both teams works out that way. Same number of penalties.
Despite one team getting absolutely caved all night for... Yep, they definitely weren't chasing Detroit around more and thus committing more infractions. Absolutely not. Not a thing.
Red Wings have done a fairly good job of handling all of it so far. Like the players are sticking up for one another, and I haven't heard really anything too crazy in sound bites. So, in terms of,
except for Zadina.
Yeah. Yeah. I said nothing too crazy. Like, I figured Blashill at some point was just about to blow up in the media and take a fine and like Chris Illich write that very measly check.
Did you not see my tweet? I said I'd start the GoFundMe if Jeff Blashill sounded off on the refs.
I didn't.
I know you didn't. I literally said I will start and I actually was going to do it more so for the laughs than anything else.
Evan's
but I would
download the Twitter app.
Oh, yeah. Well, forgot my password.
It would have been for the memes more than anything else, but I absolutely would have started a GoFundMe for Blash if he just went nuclear on the refs.
And I'm sure he does during the game. I'm sure the players do too. They're probably saying, this BS wouldn't happen if you just called the first penalty. And I'm just impressed the Red Wings have handled it as well as they have because... Let's say, for example, their coach is John Tortorella. Well, the checkbook would be written, would be out a couple times already this year. So
he's over the glass if it's Torts.
He's on the ice with Bertuzzi and Larkin.
One last point about this: a couple people made some, very salient points of, hey, the Red Wings did this in a 2-0 game, and yes, it's easy to get caught up in the emotion, but they took a retaliation penalty in a 2-0 game. I think those people are objectively right. If you're looking to win games, you you do have to be a bit more measured than that. And if we were at like game 80 and the Red Wings are fighting for a playoff spot, I would advocate for that. But as of right now, and this is an opinion, it's subjective. Feel free to disagree, and I won't even call you wrong. But my opinion is Lucas Raymond is your star winger. He's 19 years old. Someone takes a run on him that goes completely unpunished by the referee. It is important to the team, the culture, that rookie, and the fans that you send the message after. And
money well spent.
Yeah. It's the same justification for the Larkin punch. Is it asinine and some Planet of the Apes bullshit? And it's like, Ryan, this doesn't win you hockey games if you're getting caught up in the emotion. 100%. You're totally right.
I'd rather lose games right now as with this Red Wings team than lose them later down the road, or lose players later down the road because they remembered they got cheap shotted and none of their teammates did anything about it.
Yeah. And you know what? It's a 2-minute minor. I think the other teams are genuinely, save for Larkin, just clocking Matthew Joseph, which they texted and they put it behind them, which was cool. Not fun for the memes, but cool of them to see, and you like to see that respect. But still, aside from that, I think the other teams have gotten off easy. They've gotten off easy. So the league has to look at this. I don't know what it is. A conversation with the refs. You can show a clip of all 4 hits that I talked about, and you say, hey, minor penalty each one, at least, plain and simple. Start calling it, or your game's going to get out of hand. It's that simple. Otherwise, yeah, I want the Red Wings to take the extra penalty or the risk of the extra penalty every time, because Lucas Raymond cannot end up sprawled on the ice with no recourse.
Strong investment for the future.
I would just love to see Yzerman toy with the NHL on that one, sending an email. Hey, like you said, these 4 incidents, 1 minor penalty combined. Can we please do something about this? And if the NHL kind of blows them off, next day on the newswire, Luke Witkowski recalled from the Grand Rapids Griffins, and Bettman going, oh no.
Luke Witkowski doesn't step on the ice all game, just stands in the tunnel staring at the players skating by, just as a threat. Shit gets out of hand. Yzerman walks down, taps him on the shoulder, and he just starts. It's like,
no, he doesn't even stand in the tunnel. The benches are next to each other. He just brings a stool out and sits on it facing the other team's bench the whole time.
Anyways. Like we said, that was one game, and there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to bring up a much easier conversation here. Giving Jeff Blashill the credit he deserves.
Absolutely.
And I'll kick us off. We've said a lot of times on this podcast, and Jeff Blashill's been a complicated conversation. I mean, it's easy to get carried away with the memes and the jokes and the emotion, which we've done all 3. When he signed his extension, we were talking earlier this year, and I said, I think this is a good opportunity to have a reset. Part of it is accepting that coaching situation is not going to change for a little while yet, at least, if at all. And 2, there is a different personnel coming in. Jeff Blashill will now be free of the anchors on the team, the rot, as we referred to it pretty meanly in the past. There's no more, below replacement level players for the most part. Jeff Blashill has played Lucas Raymond with his 2 other best forwards consistently, given him the ice time and the space to succeed. He has played Moritz Seider with Nick Leddy, which is an easy pair, but still, and given him, Moritz Seider has the 2nd highest ice time on the Red Wings right now, behind Phil Peronic. Given him every opportunity, and hey, Moritz Seider, it's harder to shine as a defenseman, and it's not as apparent, and we've seen Red Wings coaching and Red Wings management send down guys or minimize guys' minutes for less. Moritz Seider has been given every opportunity to grow through 3 games. Again, I know, 3 games. They've been patient with him. They've seen him get more comfortable. He's getting better every game. I think the deployment of players on the ice has been really, really good. I think the way he's using that second line, which isn't getting enough credit even from us, Fabry, Zadina, and Seider, like they do look very good. I'm a big fan of what Jeff Blashill's doing to start the year, and as someone who's been easy to criticize him in the past, he deserves all the credit from us right now.
We're 3 games in. The blender hasn't come out yet. Mm-hmm. That's a big win. All the lines have stayed intact, save for Larkin's suspension, and all the defensive pairings have stayed intact. Obviously, we would like that to not happen with the Hronek to Kaiser thing, but hey, you can't get one without the other. So this is the alternative we were hoping for, and we got it. They are playing a more up-tempo game. This isn't just the sit back and wait. He hasn't been completely guilt-free in the Vancouver and Tampa games. Third period leads. He kind of went back to the old, collapse into a shell, prevent defense. But hey, we can't expect perfection. So I'm fine with it. Like you said, the young guys have been playing. He's been leaning on his stars. They've been playing a more offensively inclined game. The special teams are good. Obviously, I think a lot of that has to do with Alex Tanguay, but still, yep. Blashill has to let him do it, and he has to sign off on the systems. Blashill does get final say, so I was joking. I'm like, yeah, I'll give Blashill credit when he basically changes everything he fundamentally does as a coach, and we're like 75% of the way there. So
yeah, if you're talking about one complaint, which is like third period, like systems change, and you don't agree with how you're protecting the lead, like that's like a normal amount of complaints to have about.
Yeah.
Like people who love their coach will do that.
Every good coach has that one thing that they never change and it will drive you nuts.
And that's more oftentimes it's a difference of opinion. Like no one's sitting on this podcast and going, I know better. I am right. He is wrong. Like that's not what this is. So yeah, you don't get the success of Raymond and Seider and the rest of the team without Blashill doing what he's doing.
Yeah, like when you look at the total times on ice over the games the Red Wings have played so far, it makes sense to how the Red Wings results have gone. Like they rode their best players, and then when they had the leads, Blashill put out his whatever you want to call them, the grinders or whatever. So really no complaints there. The only concern I have really for the Red Wings coming up is when they start playing teams that have two top tier lines. Like their top six is star studded, which they gave up a lot of goals.
They gave up a lot, but they scored a lot of goals.
Scored quite a
bit. That is true. But I'm worried about, we got on the 29th and 30th, they've got Florida and the Leafs back to back. That I'm very worried about the Hronek de Kaiser pairing in particular, because if they don't improve in the next 3 games up to that, that's going to be a very weak spot, and teams are going to hone in on that very quickly.
Yeah, like I'm still of the mindset that if we're sitting here at game 15 and the Red Wings are over 500, I'll still be shocked. But hey, they've given themselves a head start towards it, so
yeah, and they've got relatively well. They play teams that are not very good right now. They've got Calgary, who's on the ropes a little bit. Montreal, who's in complete free fall, and
you hate to see it.
The NBC darlings, the Chicago Blackhawks, are also in free fall. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of happens over the next 3 games.
Well, that is funny you bring that up, because generally in the past few years, the Red Wings were the cure for what ails you. So when Montreal and Chicago would come in a free fall, if this were last year, that was an automatic W in Detroit. So hopefully Detroit's got that mentality of, you got a wounded animal coming into your barn, put your foot on their neck and finish the job, right? So I'm curious to see if that will change this year, because if they get beat by Florida, they get beat by Toronto, I'm not concerned. I don't care.
Especially with Toronto being on the second game of the night or 2 nights.
Yeah, as long as they look reasonably competitive in those games, I'm happy. If Montreal walks into Detroit with an 0-5-0 record and walks away with a 4-1 win, okay, now I'm mad, because that shouldn't happen. Right? Those are the ones that I circle on the schedule and go, this is the one I'm concerned about. Don't screw this up. If you walk into Florida and you don't get a good matchup because it's a road game and you get pumped 5-1, shit happens. Yeah, you're going to get a couple of those a year.
Florida's going to do that to a lot of teams.
Yeah, if you walk into Montreal or Chicago with the way they're playing right now and walk away with a 4-1, 5-1 loss, okay, that's red flags are back up.
We're at the point now where I'm not going to be concerned about one-offs. I'm going to be looking for trends. Like if, let's say Blashill's doing the things that we said we're really happy he's doing, that's what he gets credit for, and the Red Wings lose a game, they're going to lose. They are going to lose games. Like their schedule, as Evan referenced, is going to get tougher at the end of the month here. But Blashill's still doing those things that are really positive and good for, the incremental success, the smaller stories outside of the 2 points from the win. I'm not going to be pissed. If those losses turn into trends, then yeah, I agree, Brad. I think you look at those games and you say, okay, what's going wrong here? But right now, I don't think we should let the excitement of these 3 games to start the season, was it 5 of a possible 6 points? Let's not extrapolate too much from the standings. People keep asking, have your expectations changed? Are you looking at playoffs? Do you think the Red Wings move the rebuild up? And it's like, look, we're not going to begrudge anyone who has the optimism, because I think it's fun and nice and
You've been through a lot of pain.
Yeah, it's okay to treat yourself. But us, I mean, I'm speaking pretty confidently for you two as well.
I'm absolutely confident Detroit's going to catch Buffalo for first in the division.
God. The expectations aren't changing. We're not moving the goalposts here in one way or another. Just enjoy the ride. I mean, if we're in this position come Thanksgiving, then yeah, let's start to talk about some things. And that's perfectly possible. But for now, enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy the small successes as well. And don't get too down if the losses come.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've done Around the NHL. Let's talk about Around the NHL. Evander Kane.
Oh, God.
Who?
Man, think of how many games he's going to have to throw for all that lost salary.
Oh, my God. Man is millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in debt and throws away, what was it, 1.7 in salary for a 21-game suspension for submitting alleged. I don't think the NHL or the PA confirmed this, but it's all but known that he submitted a fake proof of vaccination card, which I'm pretty sure stacks up as a pretty serious crime. But hey, I think there's a little bit of a deal struck here between him and the NHL, because they don't want to see things are already bad for him, and they're like, you're going to do it. We don't need to help this along.
Accept your suspension and we won't submit our evidence to the feds.
21 games. Look, again, for those who are going to want to comment on us commenting on it, this isn't even a commentary on the vaccine. Man is a very talented hockey player who's done a lot of stupid shit, who owes a lot of money, and now got himself in just the dumbest way suspended. Just the absolute dumbest way.
You're not going to print off a fake driver's license and go around driving expecting to get away with it. You're not going to submit a fake vaccine card and think you're going to get away with it forever. It's just...
It's like McLovin on it.
Yeah. It's just like...
It actually said Andreas Lilia.
You can't fix stupid. That's my only explanation for this. Like, you just can't fix stupid. It's the same guy over and over and over and over again.
The team needs to hire him like an assistant who just like is like the bumpers, like just keeps him on the frickin' straight and narrow.
Remember Micah's idea that a team should pay him $1 million a year to stand behind their GM and just 5 times a year say don't do that and he'd be worth every dollar? Evander Kane needs Micah. He needs to stand behind him and 5 times a year just say don't do that.
I don't think that's enough.
No.
He already has those people.
Every time all of his suspension accrued money loss will go to Micah in that situation.
Yeah, jeez.
Well, don't those go to like
player recovery fund?
Yeah, or like their retirement benefits or something.
Well, okay, fine. Evander Kane can pay Micah in money phones.
The spa budget, it's going to be way up this month.
I can't believe I ever defended Money Phone. Dustin Byfuglien was right in the end, which, I mean, we should have all known, but oh my God.
I would have loved Money Phone as long as it wasn't in the context of you're in the middle of a lockout. Like, that was my only problem with it. Like, hey, man, read the room. Every hockey fan who's making $12 an hour is watching millionaires fight billionaires, and we just want to watch hockey. We're all irritated. Don't be talking on your money phone right now.
Other news around the NHL. The Atlantic Division, as everyone predicted, Montreal is 0-4. Our favorite meme continues. And, of course, the Buffalo Sabres are 3-0 to be tied for Florida for division lead to start the season. Plus a goal differential, the best expected goals against in terms of their strength of defense to start the season.
Buffalo, not a fluke. That's my favorite part about these stats is sometimes, it's like the Red Wings game against Vancouver. The Red Wings won the game, but they mostly got caved for a lot of the game. Greiss was just unreal, and Detroit was opportunistic on special teams. So you can have games like that. Montreal could be 0-5-0, but they could have outplayed their opponents 2 or 3 of the games and got goalied. And, it happens. It makes the record look worse than it is. When you look under the hood at the analytics between the Sabres and the Canadiens, they're exactly where they should be.
Yep.
They are actually playing that way. Montreal has legitimately been terrible, and Buffalo has legitimately been good. It is the weirdest timeline. I guess we shouldn't be this surprised with Montreal. They lost Weber, Price, Deno, and Kotkaniemi, and all they really got to replace him was Dvorak and some spare parts. Like, that was a lot of key pieces they lost. And yeah, sure, they still have Nick Suzuki, who's now been, because of the loss of Deno, thrust into a much bigger role than he was used to. And you look at his analytics this year, and he's been terrible. Yeah, it's not entirely surprising. Maybe surprising that it's this bad. But, I mean, couldn't have happened to a more deserving organization.
The
same with Chicago. Just, yeah, you hate to see the quality people in those organizations suffer the way they are right now.
Couldn't happen to a nicer team.
Yeah.
The way things are going to normalize after 3 games in, of course, things are going to normalize a little bit in terms of strength of team. It's going to start to translate into the standings.
Doesn't help when Boston's only played 1 game as well, and other teams in the division have played 4.
Seattle's played 5. Seattle's played enough games that we can declare them not as good as Vegas.
But I'm very curious to see what surprises stick. That's always one of my favorite parts of the season. Like every year, someone or teams or everyone, like the common consensus, analysts, talking heads, podcast idiots, everyone are wrong about a handful of teams, for better or for worse. And I love seeing how that shakes out and who's actually #actually good. The answer has been the Islanders for a lot of seasons, and everyone's predicting them to now win the Metro. So, of course, they are dead last at the moment. 3 games. But I'm looking forward to seeing how the landscape changes.
We beat that narrative to death in the offseason. Yeah, here's our predictions, but there's always that team. Yeah. There's never not that one team, if not multiple, that just comes out of nowhere, that free falls or that, skyrockets, and maybe we get both this year. Who knows? But there's always that team. Oh. And so far, we got a lot of good candidates for it.
Breaking news for you guys just came up on my watch. I just hit my stand goal for the day.
Well, it's a good thing you're standing right now.
Yes, I am absolutely standing right now.
Good job. Did you just input in there that you're 3'2" or?
Yeah, I said
so it just reads. My watch is this high off the ground.
Oh God!
You gotta watch your mouth. I'm gonna bite you in the kneecaps.
I didn't know you were a Lions fan. Oh. Hey, you want to know what pissed me off? It has nothing to do with hockey, but I haven't told anyone this day.
It's your podcast, so you can do whatever you want.
It's your podcast, actually, Evan.
I'll allow.
Hold on, is Randy listening? Oh no, Terry.
Yeah,
it's Terry listening.
I knew who you were referring to.
Yeah.
At gas pumps, how they have that little piece where you can just set it and forget it, and not have to hold the lever down the whole time.
Yep.
Costco's phasing those out.
I know. I did see that.
I asked the guy, and I was like, "Are you guys getting rid of these intentionally, or is this?" He's like, "No, we're phasing them out." And we just kind of looked at each other for a while, and I was like, "I know this isn't your fault, but I'm really angry. I'm not going to treat you like it is your fault, but I'm not thrilled about this."
Do you have the grip strength of a toddler?
I have the patience of a toddler.
I can't even afford to put that much gas in anymore.
Oh,
so I just have to
God.
Throttle it a little bit.
Give me about tree fitty on this.
Spit in the gas tank at that point. Anyhow, let's not let me get too far off track. Let's jump into overtime here. Overtime on this midweek episode. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Look at that. The Winged Wheel podcast is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. They are fantastic people. If they were on this show, they would be the second coolest person in the room at all times. Unfortunately, nobody can dethrone Evan, but Brad and I are low-hanging fruit. Somewhat literally. We are going to start off with Mike Hernelstein, who says starting the game with Giovanni Smith was pretty cool. Really set the tone. Love seeing this team stand up for themselves. Wholeheartedly agree. Cody Stark says, first of all, Darren Helm scored last night. So for you Darren Helm stands, there's something.
Yeah, so did Riley Shahan and Anthony Mantha, and there was one more I'm forgetting. Nick Jensen.
Yeah. Secondly, I'm loving the Wings play right now. And then finally, I've been the goalie coach for my hometown youth program for 5 years. I grew up playing goalie there. I never had a coach or much direction. I had to do summer camps to get it. I started this program from scratch and I've raised over $15,000 to purchase new equipment for the younger kids. We also use this budget to reimburse older goalies for purchased equipment and for attending goalie camps in the summer. They get one-on-one coaching from me all season long in their respective practices. Oftentimes, goalies receive the short end of the stick during a season. If anyone out there is coaching and wants some info on our program, DM me on Twitter at Starko29, STARKO29. We used to have a problem with not having enough goalies. Now we have a good problem with having too many who want to play. Cheers. Cody, that is a fantastic initiative. Hope you and mom and baby are all doing well.
That is too many goalies in one room for me, you bunch of weirdos.
Next comment is from Stick It in Cider. Just looking to buy a cider jersey. There's no question in there. They were literally just asking a question about like how to buy it from the NHL shop because I didn't have it loaded yet. Okay. But I just wanted to read the name. Andy Van.
Is it the same one for us last week?
Nah, I think that's a different one.
Okay, because that was quality.
Andy Van Dunk says, hey guys, love the pod. I've been listening since the Seider draft. I was at the Wings game last night and I'm happy I was there for Raymond's first goal. That's all. Keep up the hard work. Winged Wheel 69 says, when Verona comes back, where will he be in the lineup? And should we take a look at Vitaly Kravtsov?
Kravtsov, sure, but from what I'm reading, the Rangers' asking price is entirely too high. And where will Verona fit? I imagine that one of Seider or Fabry gets bumped down because they're not breaking up that top line right now.
Kravtsov is fun if you can have him on the cheap, but probably not going to happen. Although Chris Drew is kind of a weird GM so far. Hey, I understand he's not going to be what we thought he was in the past, but if we're going to be getting guys on the cheap who are on the outs who have talent, I want one Eric Brandstrom, please, for the Red Wings left side.
Shoots left. Very key.
Nick Geyer says, Red Wings, fun? I could get used to this. Who has surprised you the most on the Red Wings and overall in the NHL in week 1?
Overall, it's obvious answer. It's Buffalo. I'm not narrowing it down to a player. It's Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Like 3-0 and not fluking their way into it's legitimately hurting my brain. And on the Red Wings, I don't know. There's a lot of candidates this year because I don't think we expected Seider and Raymond to come in and play this well right away. I'll say Bertuzzi coming off the back injury. Yeah,
it's 100% Bertuzzi.
Yeah,
that is a guy who's pissed off about the time he missed. He is playing with more passion than I've seen a Red Wings player play with in a long time. Join the Dark Sider is asking essentially the same question. Biggest surprise through the first 3 games for Detroit and across the league. So Buffalo is his answer. It's ours for across the league. Aside from Bertuzzi, the power play. We knew it would be better because it couldn't have gotten worse, but it is, dare I say, good.
Last I saw, I'm sure it's changed in the 2 days since, but the Red Wings power play was 14th in the league, right there between Washington and Toronto.
Right, that's the company they usually keep.
Yeah, exactly.
Jake Bloom says, what are your preferred forward lines when Verona returns? Assume no other injuries. Feel free to slot in Veleno if you believe he'll be in by February.
Well, you're not breaking up that top line. That second line, then I would roll Fabry, Vrana, Zadina.
Fabry playing
center.
Yeah.
That's
almost worth it at that point.
Yeah. And then I would probably, because that flexes Seider to third line center, which means we can then break Veleno in on the wing. Mm-hmm. And then beyond that, I'd probably throw Ernie with them. And then for the fourth line, I'm so glad I can say this. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Rasmussen and whoever is in the lineup of Smith, Rowney, anyone else.
Stevens,
don't
right? Care. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Gagne. Don't care.
Man, Larkin, Fabry, Seider, Rasmussen. That is not a Stanley Cup caliber center depth. That is not even playoff caliber center depth because Fabry's better off on the wing. But that's like, it's not sad center depth, and that is just same as the power play. It's just so much better. Adam Bybee says, one of my pastimes is scanning elite prospects for good hockey names. The best I can find currently playing in the WHL, Keanu Durungs of Victoria, Jagger Furkis of Moose Jaw, and currently leading goal scorer for the Red Deer Rebels, Arshdeep Baines. Those are badass.
My all-time favorite plays for our hometown Kitchener Rangers. His first name is Arbor. His last name is spelled Xhejah.
Zeja?
Arbor Jackeye.
That's
Yeah, there's video of him saying it. That's correct. Arbor Jackeye.
That's metal. Bryce S., who's a new patron. Bryce, thank you so much for the support and welcome to the Dub Club. Says, hey guys, love the pod and I decided to support great content. That being said, if you can only listen to one hockey personality again and the options of neither and I wouldn't listen aren't, you can't pick those here, between Mike Milbury and Jack Edwards.
Mike Milbury.
I would go Mike Milbury here too. I can't handle the slant of Jack Edwards.
1,000%, because Milbury, despite his absolute lack of knowledge about how the game of hockey is played, probably has some absolutely legendary stories. I mean, he was a guy in the Boston Rangers brawl who was beating a fan with his own shoe in the stands. Like, this guy's gonna have stories.
Vincent Saladino says, why does it feel like the refs just don't care about the Wings? Talks about the Larkin situation, talks about Giovanni getting cross-checked a few times, and then retaliating and going to the box. Nemesnikov getting sandwiched between two players and then going to the box. Am I just noticing the calls against the Wings more, or are the refs just being dumb?
No, the refs are universally bad. The Red Wings have just got this short end of the stick more than usual to start the season, but it's a league-wide problem. These are not isolated incidents.
You should only have to care about the Red Wings. That's your right as a Red Wings fan, but Brad's right. Like, it's not a conspiracy. It's just never attribute to malice what can be explained by incompetence.
Exactly.
That is, unfortunately, the biggest lesson you can learn and take away in life. Give Blood, Fight Probert says, young guns good, refs bad. I love this team. That is all. That was my favorite haiku ever. Emily Escuri says, how do you think the Red Wings should address their giveaway problem on the ice before it starts to bite them in the ass? The last 3 games, they've either doubled or tripled the rate that they give away the puck versus the number of giveaways their opponents had.
This is a talent issue. And also, do dump-ins still count as giveaways? Because that's always been a grainy area.
I think it depends on who scores in that arena.
Yeah.
And it depends on who walks away with the puck.
Because the Red Wings are still a little too dump and chase. They're less of that this year, but still on the heavier side of things relative to the league. I mean, when Hronek and DeKaiser are on the ice, you're not getting a clean breakout pass. That's just been the reality of the season so far. The Red Wings' bottom 6, though they have been competent this year, are not elite puck movers. Like, I mean, Rasmussen's entire game plan is skate up the boards and try a wraparound to this point in the season, which, if the rebound doesn't go in, the other team gets it. So, yeah, that's a talent issue, so I'm not super concerned because we are very well aware of the talent level on this team overall.
Additionally, as the team now has a strategy that isn't just straight slap the puck down the ice, they are going to try more breakouts. They're going to try more zone entries. They're going to carry the puck a little bit more. And just by nature, I'm not saying it's not a problem. Emily has a good point here, but it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Circling back to a point Evan made before in the season preview episode, we have not seen the full ice dump yet with the guy standing still at the far blue line.
I haven't remembered it. So
yeah, I was looking for it the first couple games, and yeah, I can't remember one. There might have been one while I was going to take a piss or something, but I haven't seen it, which is super promising.
Aaron Hudson says, hey boys, I just want to throw some praise at Blash and Mrs. Blashill for how much ice time Raymond and Seider have been getting. Also the guys they've been paired with. He's really given them both the best start they could have had. Michael Barry says 3 things. First, how do I talk to my kids about a 3-0 Buffalo team?
Listen, sometimes, kids, dreams do come true. And quite often, reality slaps you in the face eventually.
2, will Brad have any more Mike Milbury minutes? Yeah, but Evan, have you noticed that Brad's become more measured? Like he had a little wave of, I don't know, you weren't off the rails, but you're now the one qualifying your opinions. And I don't like being the tilted one on this podcast.
It's got to be egregious and new for me to go off the rails. I want to go off the rails with the refs, but this isn't new. I'm not repeating anything I haven't said. I'm just repeating stuff I've already said. So
they've upped Brad's prescription benefits at work, I see.
Yeah.
We're maybe going a bit too heavy on it this episode.
That's okay. They'll never find your bodies.
Oh, don't tempt me with a good time. And number 3, the 2019 Red Wings also started 3-0-1. Hey, and that season ended okay.
We don't talk.
Pandemic. Babe Landeskog says, since we've been talking about Dance Gavin Dance, I felt it was needed to mention that their drummer Matt recently entered rehab for substance use issues. Good time to donate to the Jamie Daniels Foundation in relation to this news. Excellent point. Also, when I saw the tweet with Raymond scoring his first goal, you could hear my voice cheering echo off the walls of the warehouse floor. No easy feat. Happy for him, the Wings, and my fantasy team. Matt Haggard says, seriously, who has to die before the refs will call these hits? Let alone the garbage in our games. How is Jamie Benn getting away with cracking his stick on players' necks?
Yeah, he did it again against Ottawa.
Yep. Matt S. says, apparently hitting from behind is legal now. Refs are in conference finals form. Happy to see Raymond get his first. Many more to come, especially with that lethal shot. Good to see him okay after the Jenner hit. The Rosovic hit, I think you meant. And that both Larkin and Bert tag teamed him. Raymond and Seider are still on pace for 82 points. And then, yes, you make a good point. I still have to catch up on Twitter DMs. I promise you it's on our mind. It's just we're planning for the event right now and things are just getting a bit hectic. Darsh Delakia says, I think Ryan talked last year about a mead or rum fall recipe you guys do every fall. I was curious about it. I'd love to try it. Thank you, and I love your work. Do you make a mead or like a rum drink?
No. Not.
I think what you're remembering is if you can go to your local liquor store, there's a place around here that sells pumpkin spice whiskey, and you mix that with any spiced dark rum, and it is wild how good that drink is.
I would dabble in that.
Sorry, I did that all wrong. Pumpkin spice whiskey and dark rum. That's just alcohol. Pumpkin spice whiskey and apple cider. I said rum because he said rum, but pumpkin spice whiskey and apple cider.
That is what my brain interpreted your statement as.
Yeah, same. Our brain fog is in sync.
That's not good.
No, it's not. I think it's because we're doing the same kind of work right now.
Yeah.
Longtime lurker says, when will Brad admit he was wrong about Blashill the entire time? Also, I didn't pointed out last time I commented back in the summer. New patron. Thank you and welcome to the Dub Club. Love the content. Keep it ripping like Raymond. Let's go Red Wings. Deets on meetup. Yeah, we're hammering down where the meetup is going to be in the arena. We're hammering down there's going to be an email to ticket buyers soon, so just keep an eye out on that. Miss Days says, can someone please put together a video of every boarding call? Maybe if we make enough noise, the Department of Player Safety will do their job. Over the moon at Raymond's first goal, but since now it's trending that way anyways, sincerely go F yourself, every other team in the league. Wings against the world. Jeff Blashill Stan Club says, I've been looking at some possible rental left-handed defensemen on bad teams that might be good fits for Detroit to bolster this lineup that can definitely make a deep playoff push. Thinking either Hampus Lindholm or Calvin DeHaan to replace DeKaiser. I know you can't be all in every year, but now that we're 1/27th of the way into the season, I feel like these guys can find a way to win anything except maybe the Lady Bing. That's the energy we love. He who goes to bed with... Nope, that one's funny. Read that one. That one's weird in a hilarious way. Says, I've seen Pee Wee hockey players that have a more accurate shot than Rasmussen. Every single time he shoots, it's at the goalie's crest. Put one over the boards. Trick us into thinking you're at least aiming for the corner. Seider looks so composed and comfortable out there. He's going to be an incredible top player in the league. Raymond's wrist shot last night was pure sniper. Sky's the limit. Rasmussen had a 2-on-1 or 2-on-2 play where he got the pass across and really should have fired it right away and double clutched and just kind of floated it into the chest.
Yeah, Rasmussen, remember how I said there was a few players I was concerned about this season, and I mentioned Hronek and DeKaiser? Rasmussen's number 3.
Third, fourth line is going to be, again, just because he did well last season doesn't mean he's now all of a sudden living up to draft stock. We have to throw that away.
He did better last season, but I don't think he was as good as people were giving him credit for. He was better. He improved, but people were taking that as, now we got a middle six guy. I'm not there. And he loses too many board battles for someone his size, and his entire game plan is to skate as hard as he can up the boards and wrap it around. There is absolutely zero passing vision or playmaking in his game. None. Zero. Exactly none.
I was looking up left-handed defenseman. This is a perfect one. 23 years old, fits the timeline, really good.
On waivers recently?
It doesn't have trade protection. Miro Heiskanen.
Oh.
But maybe Slightly more related to Detroit, Jacob Chikrin.
Why you have to open old wounds?
I'm sorry.
Ohio State #1 says, given your expectations heading into the season, which one of Raymond or Seider has lived up to / exceeded? Both lived up to. Raymond exceeded.
Yeah.
League maximum fine of $5 says first game went well. Upping the scoring is great. Oh, okay. Read the first letter kind of thing. Upping the scoring is great. Calder trophies incoming. Ketchup isn't needed when you're #1. The kids are playing well. Happy post-win day. Effort levels are great. Raymond, Snipe, Ernie looks good. Fabry 2, Cider season. And it says, Ferk the refs. Jake Nagy says, I always knew Mort Seider would be a stud. The shocked look on my face at the 2019 draft was obviously shocked that he fell all the way to 6th. Long live German Lidstrom. Mike Franklin says, how many first-round picks will we get for Bertuzzi?
Many.
One and another conditional one. Connor Dukes says, for months, my dad's been saying the Wings are making the playoffs. I've been trying to soften his expectations, but I'm struggling. Weirder things have happened. Who knocks us out of the playoffs?
Boston, Toronto, Florida, Tampa, and Buffalo, the obvious ones.
C-Nod says, teams that have you hitting the panic button early in the season. Montreal and Chicago have to be up there. They've only scored 3 goals in 4 games from Montreal.
You hate to see it.
There's no panic button because I wasn't expecting them to be playoff teams.
I had them in the same tier as the Red Wings in my preseason rankings. And now I feel like I screwed that up royally.
Calgary needs to make sure that they get their shit together. That's a team that can't afford to waffle. They keep waffling. The Sutter coaching hire is, interesting, but yeah.
What, just teams that can't F this up this year?
You're hitting the panic button on, is what they said.
Chicago. They just paid Seth Jones infinity dollars, and he's been terrible, and the team's been terrible, and they are not young.
The Caminator says the PHF agreed with ESPN Plus to broadcast their whole season in the U.S. Big step for recognition for women's hockey. Yes, that is excellent. If you're international outside of the U.S., you can still watch on Twitch. That is formerly the National Women's Hockey League. And PHF. I forgot they changed their name. Liz B says, I'm so happy I got to see this season's Calder winner score his first goal in person. Large, the prophet of the towering behemoth, says, greetings, Sweetophiles. Has Jeff Blashill reinvented himself, or has Jeff Blashill been told to reinvent himself?
Probably a little bit of both.
I don't even want to use the term reinvent. It's still early, and this could be a case of he just never had the personnel in the first place. Are you saying is the success because of Jeff Blashill or Yzerman? Through one way or another, a little bit of both, and that's a good thing. Leaf Bushman says, longtime listener, first-time caller. Leaf, thank you so much for supporting the show. Have you been able to watch much of Edvinsson this year? I keep hearing high praise from Swedish media, and I'm wondering if this changes the outlook on re-signing someone like Leddy for a recurring mentorship role, as there have been talks of Edvinsson coming over. Yeah, Edvinsson's been great. It's been really cool to see him get an increased role, especially over there. That's hard for young Swedish prospects to do. So watching him and watching this Red Wings team, I'm a big believer in if he continues to trend how he is, I'm perfectly fine with bringing him over. Even if he doesn't stick the whole year like Seider is this year, I don't mind that at all. They would need to bring in a Leddy but right side, though. Or maybe,
like Stetcher.
Or maybe Mo Seider is so experienced at that point you can just put that pairing together, which might not even be a joke. If they keep Leddy around, I don't hate that at all. That guy is going to be a valuable player for this team.
Depending on contract.
If it's a short-term deal and they're willing to retain money if they move him at some point, 100% for it. Stevie Langerman says, hey, gents, not going to scream about the hit on Raymond, as I know Brad has covered that. But man, just absolute total bull poop. Question, do you have any hockey superstitions? Mine is I have a Gordie Howe hat-trick t-shirt I wear under my gear every game, and I always step out with my left skate when I first get on the ice.
I'm typical, boring hockey superstition. The only one I have is I put my gear on in the exact same order every time, right down to the left and right of it.
I just make sure I'm breathing.
I tucked the left side of my jersey anytime I can get away with it, but some leagues crack down on it.
I would bully you immediately.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and you tucked the wrong side, you pleb.
I'm inverse because I'm left-handed.
Yes, but you want it tucked on the side where your hand is down. Come on, man.
Oh my God, he's right. I hate that. Shut up. Misconduct Racing says, I wanted to say that you guys are making my free/cheap hobby of watching the Red Wings not so free or cheap anymore. Going to the Winged Wheel podcast night, and now the wife wants a Seider jersey, and I've also pledged $1 to the Jamie Daniels Foundation for every Lucas Raymond point. Happy to make you broke, buddy.
Yep.
You guys have a long way to go to catch up to drag racing, and I really believe in Raymond from the eye test. Every dollar donated will make me happy, and hopefully someone else happy too. I was wondering if there's a plan to someday go over analytics, how to use them, and what they all mean. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done an analytics episode. We'll have another. We brought on Micah McCurdy in the past. It's an older episode, but we highly recommend you go back and listen. We'll do another one of those soon because I know people really like them. TH says, thankfully, the Wings are taking away the pain my Dolphins are giving me right now. Anyway, since face-offs mean little, can we get a line of Raymond, Mo, and Zadina in OT?
Yes.
Yeah, why not? Reed says, for the money on the board wagers, who checks the stats to determine the final donation? We have us, Prashant, and we have a couple people helping us out with that. On a completely unrelated note, my wife wants to know if she can make a wager on the number of teeth lost by the team this season. Yeah. Maybe we have to get in touch with the team to get the info on that one. Mike Truck says, I've noticed on JFresh's expected goals for versus expected goals against chart, we're firmly in the everything is happening quadrant, which seems extremely fitting and a nice change from the down bad of last year. Do you think we can stay there, or will our expected goals regress back down below average?
They'll regress. It's been a nice start. I'm optimistic the regression's not going to fall as far as I previously thought it would be.
I think they could stay above average all year, though, provided health.
Yeah, there's a chance. I think their expected goals is going to come down just because there's been some old habits creeping in from time to time. But hey, it's all positive so far.
Vaxxed and Waxed for the Squid Games says, friends don't love friends, JFresh. Nice juxtaposition from the previous comment. With 3 weeks or so to go until the dub night at the LCA, I just want to say that since many out there are still carrying some extra quarantine weight, I'll gladly take one for the team and show up 30 pounds overweight so no one has to feel self-conscious. It's the least I could do for our dub family. I'm totally not embarking on a 3-week crash diet and workout routine so I don't look like the Michelin man in my Red Wings jersey. That's totally not it. Also, Squid Games. That's it. Just Squid Games. I will never play marbles again. Have you watched yet? No. Evan and I are going to spoil it for you at some point.
We'll just start minute by minute.
Yeah.
Here's how far behind I am on my TV watching experience. I still haven't finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, I haven't either.
Okay.
Brad's still on season 4 of Game of Thrones. He's like, boy, I sure hope this ends good.
That's where you end. That's where you need to stop.
Actually, highly recommended.
Squid Games or Game of Thrones? Because I finished Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I remember when you watched Game of Thrones, you and Max were watching it at about the same time. God, that show.
I was...
Shay Lobsinger's Hot Tub Pad says, games have been an absolute blast, but I really want the security footage. Winged Wheels and Steering Wheels says, what's your dream Winter Classic location? The moon.
Hawaii?
Wait, are we going to it or is it something we watch?
Something you'd watch.
Banff.
Ann Arbor.
Hawaii.
The equator.
Hawaii.
The Kremlin.
They have outdoor games out in front of the Kremlin. They've had them a couple times.
Yeah.
Are those the games?
I'm sorry, did you think I was joking?
Is those the games where Putin has like 12 goals?
What a coincidence that every game has the same amount of penalties, and every Russian outdoor game, Putin has 12 goals.
It doesn't make any sense. He's the most prolific goal scorer in Russian history.
Did someone just kick down my front door? Detroit Bombshell says a couple episodes ago, Brad mentioned needing to change OT with an over and back rule. I thought that I would like... I have a thought that I would like opinions on. For OT, they do 3-on-3 for a full 5 minutes, no sudden death, score as many as you can, and if it's still tied, go to a shootout.
Takes away the excitement of it.
Yeah.
That's the sudden death of it is what makes it so exciting.
I also don't think teams would love it. They don't want more guaranteed hockey. That's a lot of mileage.
And you know what's going to happen. As soon as the team scores, you just get a 3-man trap. Like, they are not entering the offensive zone.
All right. that is this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast. We are going to be back with you Sunday post-game, which means there are going to be 3 games happening between now and then. Winged Wheel Podcast night at the LCA. If you haven't bought tickets, check out the link in our bio. Details coming soon for ticket buyers for more on the meetup. For now, we'd like to thank all of our listeners, our name level sponsors, Arjun Shankar, Yves Bartels on behalf of the Sarah Grand Foundation, Kyle Karagitz, Nick Perks, Taylor Tagel, Matthew M. Rice, and Pizza, Arjun Shankar again, Bitchen Kitchen, Brandon M., Carl Bertanen Analuski, Citizen High Five, CJ Sully, Clayton Van Dyken, Craig Kibble, Derek Enstom, DJ Denton, Give Blood, Fight Probert, Greach, Hana Lee, Hassam Al-Qassem, Jacob Turner, Jake Kiefer, Jeremiah Dobo, Justin and the Angry Mob, Kalen Wood, King Tone, Cody Stark, Kyle Hashman, Matt McKay, R.A., Ryan Hubbard, Scott Martin, Shay Lobsinger's Hot Tub Pad, Stacy Lynn, Vaxxed and Waxed for the Squid Games, Zach Spring, Andrew Bohan, Sam Bankson, Adam, I wish I could finish like Ernie, Antonio Gracias, Babe Landeskog, Colorado 14ers, Connor Leighton, Dave W., Evans Bingo Card, Jeremy Brocker, John Evans, Josh Yelton, Kevin McCracken, Quaz, Matt Keeler, Matt S., Max $1 million, Reed, Revi DeLuca, Shit Nugget, you piece of shit, Trevor Pepivar, Zach Handyside, and Zach McCann, a driving range superstar. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you Sunday postgame.
Thanks for tuning in to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Be sure to check out wingedwheelpodcast.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll also find links to other ways to support the show, such as Patreon, official podcast apparel, and more. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at Winged Wheel Pod. And of course, the hosts at Brad Crisco, at Ryan Hanna WWP, and at Hockey Town Evan.